Health Authority SHA, including key milestones achieved and the challenges since the inception, and what legal reforms could be proposed to address the challenges that SHA has faced so far, if any. The member will also be asking the CS to provide a detailed report on the current total capitation of the Social Health Insurance Fund, or SHIF you may like, from the monies from the exchequer, contributions payable to the fund by the formal and the informal sectors, money that was transmitted from the fund from the defunct NHIF, money that was transmitted to SHIF from NHIF, and any other sources of monies payable to the fund, if any. Honorable Chepkonga has a number of questions from this to the CS for Health. The member for Ainabkoi constituency wants Honorable Duale to provide the status of the primary healthcare PHC fund in relation to the facilities. This is Facilities Improvement Fund for the public health facilities. The Honourable Member for Kibwezi West, Honourable Mwengi Mutuse, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Health to explain why there's no trauma facility between Mombasa and Nairobi along the Mombasa-Nairobi Highway, which is one of the country's main transport corridors, which has resulted in some Kenyans who have been involved in road accidents losing their lives. Away from the questions by Honourable Mutuse, to the CS for Health, a number of questions will be directed to the CS for National Treasury, and Honorable Mbadi is expected in the House this afternoon. There is a huge anticipation of his presence in the plenary. The CS is supposed to answer questions and provide an update on the status of the disbursement of the funds under the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, Ng-Cdf, for the financial year 2024-2025, being a matter that has raised concerns among members of Parliament, who for the better part of that was on Tuesday afternoon, yesterday, accused the National Treasury of undermining CDF and GAF projects across the 290 constituencies. We await to see what he'll be telling honourable members in regards to that disbursement of Ng-Cdf and GAF funds. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Honourable Dr. Moses Wetangula, is already in the chambers this afternoon, signaling that the business of the National Assembly will be commencing in a few seconds. Allow me to hand over for this live broadcast brought to you by KBC in partnership with PBU. Enjoy your viewing.
Waheshimiwa, tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umetiwa nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu, tukusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao wameridhika kutuita sako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako siendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao hajasawa misikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Sergeant, ring the quorum bell.
5 minutes or about 5 minutes after the commencement of business, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Wetangula, currently presiding over the business, has directed the Sergeant at Arms to ring the quorum bell to allow for the quoration of the House to commence business. And this directive is also guided by the House standing orders that dictate the number of members of Parliament that are required to be in the chamber at any given time when the House is commencing business. As we await for that number to be attained, allow me to take you through some of the agenda before the House this afternoon. And the House is set to vote on a motion on the state of security in 6 counties of the North Rift. The counties in question are Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Turkana, West Pokot, Samburu, and Laikipia counties. The Committee on Administration and Internal Security already conducted its visit in these 6 counties that have insecurity issues and laid its report on the 13th of August, the year being 2024. The debate on this motion has already been concluded upon, and what awaits the House is the vote on the report by the House Committee on Administration and Internal Security having been debated on the floor of the House. We have a number of bills lined up for first reading. Among them is the Kenya. The quorum has been achieved. Allow me to...
Clerk.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, April 16, 2025, afternoon sitting. Report of the Auditor General and financial statement of Kitelaakapel Technical Training Institute for the year ended 30th June 2022, and the certificates therein in respect of 2. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statement for the years ended 30th June 2023, and the certificates therein in respect of A. Fire Technical and Vocational College, B. Garzen Technical and Vocational Training, C. Godoma Technical Training Institute, D. Kajiado East Technical and Vocational College, E. Kajiado West Technical and Vocational College, F. Kandara Technical and Vocational College, G. Katine Technical Training Institute, H. Kerich Township Technical and Vocational College, I. Kaminini Technical and Vocational College, J. Kipipiri Technical and Vocational College, K. Konoin Technical Training Institute, I. Limuru Technical and Vocational Training, M. Madenge Technical Training Institute, N. Madioya Technical and Vocational College, O. Nachu Technical and Vocational College, P. Nairobi Technical and Training Institute, Q. Daragwa Technical and Vocational College, R. India Technical and Vocational College, S. PC Kinyajui Technical Training Institute, T. Shamberere Technical Training Institute, U. SOT Technical Training Institute, V. Sotik Technical Training Institute, W. Tetu Technical and Vocational College, X. Dika Technical Training Institute, Y. Weru Technical and Vocational College, and Z. Ziwa Technical Training Institute. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I lay.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, I will give 3 members at statement time, which is now. While I'll do that, as majority leader or whip, check and see if the Minister for Treasury is Minister for Treasury, National Treasury, is within the precincts of Parliament. Let him not come in now, but let him be on standby. As soon as we finish the statements, we will then call him in. We'll have statements, one from John Kagusha. After John Kagusha, Wangare Mother, then close with a farewell statement from Honorable Ruto. He wants to say something to the House as he exits. So Kagusha, where is Kagusha? Wangare?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 44-2C. I rise to request a statement from the chairperson of the Committee on Finance regarding the measures being taken by the government in respect to its mandate of regulating and controlling gaming activities in Kenya, specifically the so-called aviator game of chance. Mr. Speaker, gaming has stifled livelihoods across the country in both rural and urban setups. The craze has terrorized both women and men and the youth in equal measure by gobbling up livelihoods. There are numerous cases, Mr. Speaker, of students gambling on their school fees, parents gambling on their savings. Mr. Speaker, there has been an unabated drive by registering gaming firms to place advertisements on leading TV and radio stations during prime time using their abnormal profits financial muscle. There is evidence of a firm whose betting and gaming activities are part of prime time news in one of the most watched TV stations in the country. Mr. Speaker, this game of chance in the country called Aviator, where a virtual aeroplane flies carrying with it odds that purportedly multiply stakes placed by gamers. This Aviator game of chance has become addictive to the youth, women and men, and has left many of them destitute. This Aviator game, Mr. Speaker, is addictive because one does not need prior knowledge of any sporting activity or club to place a bet, and the results are instant. It is against this background, Mr. Speaker, that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Finance Committee on the following. Number 1, what is the legal status of the registration of Aviator game of chance in Kenya? Number 2, how much revenue are we getting as a country from the taxes collected from betting and gaming activities in the country? Number 3, the statistics from the Department of Planning on how much Kenyans are spending per year on betting and gaming activities. Number 4, the steps being taken by the Betting Control and Licensing Board to control the proliferation of all manner of advertisements on audio, visual, and print media relating to Aviator game. Number 5, table the criteria and regulations used by the Betting Control and Licensing Board to authorize and regulate the Aviator game of chance in the country. Number 6, table a list together with license numbers and dates of firms, including media stations, that are authorized to conduct games of chance in the country. And finally, Mr. Speaker, table a list from the Betting Control and Licensing Board of ongoing and concluded disciplinary cases against errant betting and gaming firms and media stations in the country for the last 1 year. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mother Wangari. Chairman Finance. Where is the Chairman Finance, Osoro? Tell the Chairman Finance to bring a statement response on Thursday.
Much obliged.
I also know people who have been destroyed by that.
Much obliged.
That gambling site. Kagusha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
I call you twice. You are not here. So the most decent thing to do is to apologize to the House
Honorable,
for not being here when we needed you.
Honorable Speaker, I profusely apologize for not being here. Honorable Speaker, the majority whip is insisting that I mentioned that my family is in the Speaker's gallery, and I welcome them, and I'm happy to have them here, my wife and my girls. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of the Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding road safety at Montezuma Mona Lisa Funeral Home along Thika Road. Honorable Speaker, the Montezuma Mona Lisa Funeral Home in Kabati, situated along the heavily trafficked Thika Superhighway, experiences substantial pedestrian movement. Regrettably, the absence of a designated crossing point has resulted in a worrying surge in accidents and fatalities, particularly as individuals attempt to cross the busy road to collect bodies of their departed kin from the facility. Notably, the lack of a footbridge at this critical location poses a grave risk to both pedestrians and motorists in the area, which has already been identified as a high-risk zone for accidents. Reports have consistently shown that vehicle-to-pedestrian collisions are among the most common types of accidents along Thika Road, with black spots such as Githurai and Safari Park recording alarming high numbers of incidents. While efforts have been made to install footbridges along certain sections of the highway, the lack of a footbridge at Kabati area leaves pedestrians vulnerable to accidents. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. 1, a detailed report on the number of and nature of road accidents that have occurred in the Kabati area near Montezuma Mona Lisa Funeral Home along Thika Road over the last 6 months, including the contributing factors and specific measures being put in place by the ministry to address road safety concerns near Montezuma Mona Lisa Funeral Home, Thika Road branch, including plans for the construction of a footbridge at the location to reduce pedestrian-related accidents, and the expected timeline for implementing these solutions. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Mwenje, why are you raising your hand?
Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to ride on the question by Kagusha. And Honorable Speaker, we have so many questions pending with the Chair of Transport, and we'd seek your indulgence, Honorable Speaker, that we can get these responses before we go for the long recess, because they affect quite a number of other issues, especially even the 22 and 10% matter that I had raised, Honorable Speaker, in the statement, and is yet to be responded to, despite it being over 4 or 5 weeks now. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Osoro? Where is Osoro? Owen Bayer? The Chair of Transport sought permission from the Speaker to be away this week. Ostensibly, is writing exams. So next week, tell him to bring the pending responses to many statements that have been requested to his committee.
Okay. Much obliged, Honorable
including
Speaker.
This one of Honorable Kagusha.
Okay. Much obliged, Honorable Speaker.
DK, what is it?
On the issue of roads, Chair and Speaker, it's important that since it's a matter that is really affecting the 22% in terms of ensuring that the roads can be done in our constituencies, I think instead of the Chair coming with a statement, maybe you should rule that the CS himself, just the same way the CS for Treasury is coming today, the CS himself for roads should appear in this house so that he can be able to address the matter conclusively. Thank you.
Says which CS comes. So Owen Bayer and Osoro, it is yourselves. We have one Wednesday before recess. 2. Yes, if you feel you should bring the CS roads, it's up to you.
I think it's necessary, Honorable Speaker, and we commit to have him here maybe next Wednesday or the other Wednesday, Honorable Speaker, before we break.
Okay.
Next is okay.
Okay. We'll do so. So tell everybody who has a statement, request, or question to Rhodes to liaise with the majority leadership to list those questions for next Wednesday or Wednesday down the week. Before I call on Ruto, allow me to acknowledge AIC Lundi Child Development Center from Mwingi Central, Kitui, EAPC Masabit CDC from Saku Masabit, and also to join the Honorable Kagusha in welcoming his family to the Speaker's Gallery to come and see his performance. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome all of you to the House of Parliament. Honorable Ruto and members, what Ruto is going to say is akin to a maiden speech, but this one is now a farewell speech. We shall hear him in total silence. I've given him 5 minutes to say what he wants to say and then take his leave if he wishes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker and members, first and foremost, I would like to extend a very big thank you to the Almighty God for the opportunity to serve the people of Bere North in the 13th Parliament since August 2022. It has been the honor of my life to be of service to my constituents as their representative in the Parliament for 2 years and 7 months so far. Let me also express my sincere appreciation to you, Honorable Speaker, my colleagues in the House, and to the clerk of the National Assembly for remarkable support that you have accorded me during my time at the National Assembly, for the friendship and cooperation from each one of you. During my time here at Parliament, I have been an active member of the Departmental Committee on Delegated Registration, as well as Select Committee on Delegated Registration and Departmental Committee on Tourism and Wildlife. I have taken time to reflect immensely on the 2.5 years that I had the privilege of serving in the National Assembly and underlying the strides I have made through the various legislative tools I initiated as an undertaking of my constitutional mandate. In the regard to bills, as a first-time member of the National Assembly, I have been able to propose several bills that are in various stages of the legislative process, including the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Amendment number 2 Bill of the National Assembly, number 40 of 2023, which sought to amend the Anti-Corruption Economic Crimes Act number 3 of 2003 to remove the delays and undue criminalization of administrative action undertaken in the course of public procurement, which are as a result of frauds in the procurement laws. The bill sought to remove culpability, prescribes on persons in charge of administration, custody, management, receipt or use of any part of public revenue or property as administrative frauds, as this can be adequately addressed through other numerous existing provisions, including the express provision in Article 2265 of the Constitution. Number 2, the Assembly and Demonstration Bill, National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2024, which sought to give effect to the provision of Article 37 of the Constitution, which provide for the right of a person to assemble, demonstrate, and present petition to the public authorities. Number 3, the Election Amendment Bill 2024, the Virtue Asset Bill 2024, the Data Protection Amendment Bill 2023, and Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill 2023, as well as Sustainable Development Bill 2024. I also tabled multiple motions in the period of my service. I proposed various motions seeking the resolution of the House on different critical national and regional matters, particularly motion on developmental policy and funding for junior secondary schools. This was aimed at addressing funding and policy gaps in junior secondary schools, inadequate infrastructure, shortfalls of technology in JSS, and which was adopted on 26 July 2023. The resolutions made by the House was to develop a comprehensive junior secondary school to ensure proper junior secondary school policy, to ensure proper establishment of the schools and also a clear implementation framework for the competency-based curriculum, and provide a funding plan for successive implementation of the curriculum. Honorable Speaker, I also had a motion on adoption of government-to-government model to acquire and supply fertilizer to farmers at a subsidized cost. Also, the motion on adoption of government-to-government agreement to facilitate local assembly of essential equipment for electricity connection. Motion number 4 on framework of government-to-government on importation and distribution of essential foodstuffs and goods, as well as adjournment motion on the new financing model for the universities, colleges, and technical institution students. Honorable Speaker, beyond registration and policy making, I sought accountability from an executive through 6 statements from chairpersons of various committees, namely 1, statement on payment of the last expense and death gratuity under the NHIF and Public Service Superannuation Scheme. This was in response to the plight faced by bereaved families, particularly the over 800 dependents of persons who died during the COVID-19 period, whom remain uncompensated despite being covered by these schemes. Number 2, statement on sale of Roundup in the country by Bayer East Africa Limited.
Minister nominee, you have 2 minutes to finish.
I expressed my concern over the continued sale of Roundup, toxic herbicide, in Kenya market, despite legal action and compensation in other jurisdictions. It still remains in Kenyan market. I question why the manufacturer was still permitted to sell the dangerous pesticide in the country. Number 3, statement on measures being taken to boost the manufacturing sector in the country. Number 4, statement on settlement of Gire market squatters in Bere North constituency. Number 5, statement on tax incentives claimed by developers operating enterprise within the special economic zones. And number 6, statement on development of mass rapid transit corridors in Nairobi metropolitan area and the role of Nairobi Metropolitan Area Transport Authority. Honorable Speaker, as I continue to reflect on the role I have played in the House, I also wish to highlight the policy questions I asked to the Cabinet Secretaries, Constitutional Commissions, and independent offices. Public service in the area is an area that covers many facets, and being a representative of the people, I oversighted the area of agriculture, anti-corruption, and education, among others, as follows. 1. Question to the Minister of Agriculture and Livestock Development regarding the supply and distribution of subsidized fertilizer across the country in preparation of the planting season. Question 2. Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission on the status of monies and properties recovered by Ethics and Corruption Commission under the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act. Number 3, question on the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Development on the adverse effect of Roundup and upside on the ecosystem on humans.
How much of that statement is left?
2 minutes, Honorable Speaker.
2 minutes.
1 page remaining.
You better finish, okay.
Number 4, Honorable Speaker.
Give him the mic.
Number 4, Honorable Speaker. Question on Teacher Service Commission on the inclusivity and recruitment procedures and affirmative action, safeguards to teachers from marginalized groups. Number 5, question to the Public Service Commission on action taken to mainstream marginalized groups and communities in the public service in line with Article 232 of the Constitution and the public service values and principles. Honorable Speaker, I am fully convinced and confident that the role I have been nominated to in the executive to be an extension of the work I have begun here in Parliament. As a registrar, I was guided by the call to be faithful and diligent in the service to the people. As a Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital Development, and Special Programs, the same oath will continue, only on the broader scale and with even more greater responsibility. I am reminded of the ones in the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 12, verses 48. To whom much is given, from him much will be required, and to whom much has been committed, of him they will ask much more. Honorable Speaker, I am proud to have faithfully represented the people of Barren North and have contributed to legislative agenda and reparations whose impact will endure beyond my time here. Indeed, should my nomination be approved, which has been approved.
Yes, your nomination has been approved.
Indeed, with my approval, which was done this morning, I will continue to engage with the House though from the other side, particularly during question time and other matters of oversight. Even then, the commitment remains the same: public service to the people of Kenya. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. I thank each one of you, honorable members of this great House. And I thank the people of Barren North for giving me an opportunity to serve in this House and also to serve them as well as the people of Kenya. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Ruku. Honorable members, let's put questions at orders number 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Then we call in the CS Treasury.
Order number 8, special motion. Consideration of a nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for East African Community Affairs. Question to be put.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable Ruku, you may now exit. Order, Honorable Ruku. Can you walk out? Order. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 8, which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations in its report on the approval hearing of a nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 15th April 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 155, 3B of the Constitution, and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of Dr. Caroline Wanjiru Karugu as Principal Secretary, State Department for East African Community Affairs. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 9, special motion. Consideration of a nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Science, Research and Innovation. Question to be put.
Take the seat, Honorable Cheng. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 9, which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Education in its report on the approval hearing of a nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 15th April 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 155, 3B of the Constitution, and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of Professor Abdul Razak Shaukat as Principal Secretary, State Department for Science, Research and Innovation. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 10, special motion. Consideration of a nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Devolution. Question to be put.
Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 10, which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Regional Development in its report on the approval hearing of a nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 15th April 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 155, 3B of the Constitution, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of Mr. Michael Loakiamnu Lenasalon as Principal Secretary, State Department for Devolution. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 11, special motion. Consideration of a nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Shipping and Maritime Affairs. Question to be put.
Order, honorable members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 11, which is that, taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure in its report on the approval hearing of a nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 15th April 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 155, 3B of the Constitution, and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of Mr. Aden Abdi Miller as Principal Secretary, State Department for Shipping and Maritime Affairs. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 12, motion. State of security in 6 counties of North Rift, being Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Turkana, West Pokot, Samburu, and Laikipia. Question to be put.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Clive, take your seat. Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 12, which is that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the inquiry into the state of security in 6 counties of North Rift of Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Turkana, West Pokot, Samburu, and Laikipia, declared as disturbed, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 13th August 2024. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? No. The ayes have it. Honorable members, we go back to order number 7. Majority Whip, will you search, and if you find the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury, bring him to the chamber and produce him before the Speaker. Order. 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 Honorable member for Malindi. Where I come from, I'm an African man. Women don't shout at men. And besides that, it is unparliamentary for any one of us to shout at anybody. Honorable members, before I usher the minister to the floor, let's do first reading at order 14 and 15.
Order number 14, the Kenya Roads Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 16 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Kenya Roads Act. Order number 15, the Public Service Human Resource Management Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to make provisions for uniform norms and standards of human resource management in the public service and for connected purposes.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, we have the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury coming to this House on my direction, following a point of order raised by the Member of Parliament for Bumula, which was joined in by several of you on the fate and status of disbursement of Ng-Cdf funds, and to some extent, the National Affirmative Action Funds called NGAF. But the front banner is CDF. Honorable members, I may recall to the House that sometime in December last year, before our break, the CS, who is a former distinguished member of this House, having been a minority leader, chair of several important committees, including PAC, and a distinguished economist in his own right, came to the Speaker's office and gave me a breakdown on how he's going to disburse CDF, and I allowed him for that. When we had our midterm retreat in Naivasha, we also invited the CS, and he graciously came and engaged all of you on this very important issue. Today, Honorable Minister, you are here, and I'll give the House 30 minutes to deal with this issue, to give a full, candid statement on the status of disbursement of these funds and the future conduct on how these funds will be disbursed to constituencies. These funds, members, are not your funds. They are funds of the people of Kenya. And when they go to the constituencies, they serve the people of Kenya. And this is one of the most revolutionary, devolved function that we have ever had in this country. We will therefore, and I want to encourage you members, hear the minister's statement in absolute silence. Once he finishes, I will allow the member who raised the point of order, the first bite, and then allow a few members to ask clarifications or questions. And once we finish and we are satisfied, we'll let the minister go back to his office. Minister, welcome, and you can now take the podium.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Together with the members of the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya, my former colleagues, let me first take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank you for indulging me and inviting me to come here and talk to a matter of national importance. And I want to agree with you, Mr. Speaker, that National Government Constituency Development Fund has been a revolutionary fund in this country. And I want to also associate myself that this government supports devolution and devolution of resources. Devolution not in the sense of just county governments, but devolution of resources. And CDF, there cannot be any other better fund that is well devolved than, yes, you can use different terminology, decentralized, devolved, but the fact is that money goes to the grassroots. And so I still remain committed to devolution of resources and support to the National Government Constituency Development Fund and the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, at the policy level, I want to reiterate that we have a strategy on how to release exchequer, especially on devolved resources. Mr. Speaker, being a former member of this parliament, and it is not long ago that I was here, and I've been here for 17 years, and appreciating the role that CDF plays in our economic development and a support to various social aspects of the society, including supporting education of our children, I voluntarily came to your office without any invitation on a date I can't remember in December to discuss with you the challenges of the release of funds to the national government.
It was on 5th December.
It was on 5th December. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And so when I came, we discussed, and I clearly took notes that we have not been able, or we were not able at that time to release constituency development funds to the constituencies as should be done. So I proposed a schedule on how the funds were going to be released. And so, Mr. Speaker, I just want to discuss with the members what has happened in terms of the release of these funds before I explain the challenges that probably we have encountered. First, Mr. Speaker, when I came, and this House will remember that there was carryover of CDF from the last financial year, money that was not disbursed, money that was appropriated to the National Government Constituency Development Fund, but was not disbursed. So for the 23-24 financial year, out of the total 57 billion 931,500,000, only 44.4 billion was disbursed. That left us with a gap, a carryover of 13.531 billion. That was then added to the appropriation for 2024-2025 to give, which was 54,732,927,680. That gave us a figure of 68.233 billion for now, 24-25, to be paid or disbursed. Mr. Speaker, by the time I came to your office, out of this money, only an amount of 13.5 billion had been disbursed. So in the month of September, on 24th of September, we paid 5.5 billion. The following day, on 26th, 300 million was disbursed. That same September, we disbursed another 2 billion. Then in November, we disbursed 5.73 billion. So that cleared the entire carryover of 13.5 billion. Now, we sat down and I told you, Mr. Speaker, that entire 54 billion has not been disbursed, and we are already in December. We had only 7 months. So I committed myself that beginning December, we would be releasing 7 billion per month. Every month, 7 billion. To the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board. So this is what we did. On 13th December, after coming to your office, the National Treasury released 7 billion shillings. On 20th of February, we again released another 7 billion. Now, you will note that we did not release any money in January. And I will come back to the reasons. In the month of March, again, after releasing the money for February of 7 billion, again we defaulted in February. Now, in March, we defaulted in March. So, Mr. Speaker, in the month of April, and that is not long ago, that is actually today, that is today. What I may not have here is the time, but I have evidence that we released another 7 billion shillings. Now, Mr. Speaker, this amount of 7 billion is to the National Government Constituency Development Fund. But then, for the National Government Affirmative Action, let me just touch on it. The budget was initially 3.2 billion. That was reduced to 2.7 billion after the supplementary budget. We had already released 1.6 billion. Today, we released the balance of 1,104,499,000. So now we have zero balance for National Government Affirmative Action. And one would ask why, I looked at the amount and it looked too little to split again. Now, let me come back to the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, the month of January, the month of February, the month of March is usually, those are very difficult months for us at the National Treasury and the economy of Kenya as a whole. I want to explain to my colleagues that these are the months. First, you must pay capitation to schools in the first term. And out of the total allocation which you gave for capitation to primary schools, JSS, and high school of 96 billion, 48 billion must be released in first term. And that we did in total. We released 48 billion. Now, this second term, we will have to release another 14 billion, and then third term, another 14 billion to complete, 24 billion, another 24 billion. The same month of January, Mr. Speaker, this is the time that you pay most of the loans, especially the loans which we took bilateral loan, we took from China to pay for SGR. This is the month that we paid on 16th of January, 10.6 billion for foreign payments. The same January 17th, we paid another 59 billion. I want to jump other small amounts and indicate the same January on 24th, we paid 3 billion. The same January on 21st, we paid 1.1 billion. So if you add the total amount that we paid for loans in January alone is 75 billion. You pay 75 billion and you pay salary of 80 billion. Our salary wage bill has moved from 75 billion, the way it was in December, to 80 billion per month in January. Why? One, we onboarded JSS teachers at enhanced salaries. Omboko Mlemba, Honorable, with his team, agitated for salary increment, which they deserve, and they got it. We also had to adjust the salary of our disciplined forces. We also had to adjust the salary of lecturers who are in the streets with 4.3 billion. Now, that has pushed our salary figures to 80. Now, 80 added to 75, that is already 150 billion. I will tell you, you have not released any money to counties, and you have not released any money to CDF, and you have not released any money for any operations. Now, that tells you that the commitment we have in January is that high. In February, again, the story is the same. And I will tell you that in the month of February, we had a T-bill redemption, treasury bond, not bill, redemption of 51 billion. And redemption is redemption. You pay. It's not rollover. The month of April today, we have on 7th paid a treasury bond of 90 billion, 90.99 billion, 100. So what am I saying in short? What I'm saying in short is that, honorable members, is not that National Treasury does not want to honor commitments that I make to this House. But sometimes you have to balance the needs that come before you. We all know that we had to struggle after the Gen Z's agitation. This economy was shut for almost 2 months. That affected revenue collection. But worse still is that external finances, we have not been able to receive external finances until now. Fortunately, now the doors are opening for external resources. Actually, when I gave this commitment in December, I was very sure that we were going to get external resources by February, March. Unfortunately, that has delayed. And let me just give you some examples. One, on IMF program, you know the 7th and 8th review delayed. 7th review was supposed to come in March. It didn't happen last year. May, it didn't happen. July, that didn't happen. September, it didn't happen. It happened in November, and that is the time we combined 7th and 8th review. and got payment from IMF. After that, to prepare for the 9th review, it was not practical for us. So we mutually agreed to let go the 9th review and start another program. So the money that we were to get from IMF of 764 million US dollars, which is almost 100 billion shilling, that one is not coming. So we had to adjust. Now the World Bank disbursement of 600 million is coming in June. Why? Because you remember this House and the Senate delayed in a way, but we thank you for now finally passing the conflict of interest bill, which was a condition. World Bank could not give us money until that bill was passed. That bill has just been passed, and we thank you for it, but now it is unlocking. Today I was with the World Bank representative. It's unlocking 600 million to us. Another amount that has not come is the African Development Bank loan of 265 million US dollars. That again, fortunately, is coming in a week's time. All the conditions precedent have been realized. So, and this year, financial year, I want to tell you here today and report that we have not made any commercial loan borrowing. We have not borrowed any money commercially. The money that we borrowed was to manage a liability. So it was like we used a Eurobond to pay off Eurobond, which is coming in 2027. And we did that because we want to be proactive. We don't want to work like we worked before, which put us in problems. Now we have paid Eurobond that is due in 2027 because we realized if we delayed it, it was going to cause shocks in our economy. So we have not borrowed any money. We have only borrowed money locally in the domestic market and within the framework, and that is why you can see the interest rates today. 1 year ago, the 91-day Treasury bill was selling at 16%. Today it is 8.5%. Because of being careful, borrowing, with caution that we don't just go to the market. So let me come back to the issue of Ng-Cdf. Honorable members, we have 2 months that we have defaulted now. If you take, and by the way, Mr. Speaker, this I can table, so that I can demonstrate, because I think my credibility went down a bit. So I can hear a lot, but so this is evidence that we have transferred 7 billion. So this is my commitment. My commitment is that, and by the way, we also have other very pressing demands on Exchequer. One of them is also the transfers to counties. Counties also we have not paid February, March. I want to assume I didn't hear that. But then I want to give a commitment again, because you can see that we have the intention to make sure that there is money released to Ng-Cdf. I want to give a commitment that in the course of this April, we will give again another 7 billion. So that I am in this month, so that I cannot promise next week, because next week we are paying salaries. We must start paying salaries, but I will make sure that we release another 7 billion to the board, so that we only have 1 month in default or 1 month in arrears. Colleagues, I want to repeat again. If there is anything that under my watch as a minister is not done for National Government Constituency Development Fund, it is not intentional. It is because at times the pressure is too much. Sometimes you have to balance between paying the debts, which you must pay, because if you don't pay debts, by the way, there will be no economy. So we must pay our debts. We must release money to CDF. We must release money to education. We must release money for security. Sometimes we take security for granted when we boast of numbers of tourism rising. We don't know how much threat has been dealt with out there. So we must support our security. Let me conclude, Mr. Speaker, because I know there will be further questions, and ask that we have and plead that as leaders, people out there may not like us. They may say all sorts of things, but we are still their leaders. And therefore, I am just appealing that we are all privileged. We need to be sometimes a little bit cautious. I listened to one of us argue that this country is likely to be taken to pari, that we are likely to default in debt payment. That is irresponsible statement. It is irresponsible, it can cause panic, and it should not come from someone who has chaired Budget and Appropriations Committee. Let me tell you, yes, there were times when we had challenges, but where we are, we don't have a problem with debt sustainability. The numbers are there. The figures are there. Even the IMF has the figures. World Bank has figures. We have been rated out there. The problem we have is about liquidity. Loans were taken at a particular point of time. Most of them are maturing between now and 2032. That is why we have the pressure. After 2032, you go and look at our books and they're public. From 2034 to 2048, we don't have any loan to pay. There is no external loan to pay around that time. Whether bilateral, whether commercial, multilateral, we don't have much loans. But between now and 2032, we must work together. This House has a responsibility. Treasury has a responsibility. Executive has a responsibility. We must work together to steady our economy. And that is why some of us were taken to the executive as experts to make sure that we steer the ship. So don't discourage. This process will continue. I am committed to it. There is no time we will default in our loan repayment. This country is strong economically. It is the strongest economy in the region. So let nobody scare people that Kenya is going to default. We may be struggling. But let me ask you, have we failed to pay salaries? No. Have we failed to pay capitation to schools? We paid in full. Are we not meeting our expenditures for security and other matters? Yes. Are we going to release the entire CDF for development of our infrastructure in schools and security and pay bursary? Yes. Are we going to pay money to our counties? Yes. And by the way, let me ask. I have been in this house with you, and I used to sit there. That is my corner. I hope you reserve it for me. I will come back there maybe one time. This is not the first time we have had a delay. In fact, if you look at last financial year, it was worse. The last financial year was worse. And I'm committing to you, you will not have problems. I know there is bursary issues. We have released the 7 billion. I want to try release another 7 billion before schools open end of this month, so that you sort out the bursary and make sure that the balance we don't carry over to 2025, 2026. That is what I'm working on. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I know I took longer than I should have taken, but now I can allow my colleagues, and I can take my water if you give me a bottle of water. Thank you very much.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. Honorable members. The document provided by the minister, which I find authentic, indicates that today, for Ng-Cdf, an amount of 1 billion 104,499,800 was released to the State Department for Gender. That is the route through which that money is ordinarily paid. And an amount of 7 billion was released to the State Department for Economic Planning. That is the route through which CDF is paid on its way to the board. The minister has also told you, and we will hold him to it, that before the close of the month, we have only 12 days to go, or thereabouts. He will pay another 7 billion. I'll now give Jack Wamboka the first opportunity to ask any clarification.
Honorable Speaker, I want you to protect me from the Deputy Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I appreciate the Minister, one, for coming, and someone is distracting the Minister because the Minister should be listening to this. And first, two things, that we've been patient with the Minister with the things he has been saying. One, because he's a ranking member, former ranking member of this House. We would not have been tolerant, perhaps, if you didn't have those decorations with you. Two, I also must declare that the Minister is my very good personal friend, and we have many things we dream about together for future. Mr. Speaker, a lot of the things the Minister has said is what the Minister said in Naivasha. A lot of them. And Honorable Mbadi, we respect you. When you went to the Treasury as an expert with Mbadinomics, we expected you, by the time you are giving commitment to this House, you are sure about the things you are saying. You have put our Speaker not in very good light. You are lucky that we also trust our Speaker and we love him so much, because you have been using him as a shield. It does not make sense, Honorable Mbadi, my good friend, to say you gave the Speaker a plan on how you are going to disburse these monies, then later on you are bringing in the issues of disbursements of capitation. The Mbadi, I know, you should have foreseen that. You are an expert. By the time you are giving that commitment, Honorable Mbadi, those are things that would have been on your fingertips, Mheshimiwa Mbadi, with due respect. And before even I continue, what we are expecting from you today is 21 billion. The bare minimum and take home, as we speak, is 21 billion. All these other things you are saying, capitation, county money, it is your responsibility as government to send these monies. The year is coming to an end. Mheshimiwa Mbadi, please do that is needful to our people, and don't bring a lot of issues, Honorable Speaker. Lastly, Mheshimiwa Mbadi, a lot of college and university students, most of them missed exams because we did not facilitate their bursaries. They will be forced to defer a whole year. A whole year. So how are you going to restitute that? That these students have been deferred and they continue now to live the way they live. So, Honorable Speaker, our bare minimum, don't talk of 2032, 2048, because loans will still be taken by those governments that are coming, we don't know. Because these are things now that we are tired of. We are speaking about now, and we have a lot of trust in you, Mheshimiwa Mbadi. I particularly know you and particularly know that you can deliver better. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of this House, our bare minimum is 21 billion.
Musa Serma.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity you have given me. First and foremost is to thank you for bringing the CS Treasury here through your initiative and also the demand by members. Mr. Speaker, the amount of 7 billion translates into 23 million per constituency. And the balance which we had been given before, that is 14 billion, shows that every constituency has an average of 46 million. The average amount of bursary to be given by the members at the 40% of what is in the act, Mr. Speaker, 75. Comes between 70 million and 80 million. Yes. And yet, with these 7, we shall just be about 60. So, Mr. Speaker, we would have liked to release the children who are going to school when these bursaries have come up. So, Waziri, we need you to make up on that amount before even we move out of, by getting that 7 billion.
Honorable members, I'm giving you an opportunity to seek clarification or ask a question to the minister.
Yes.
Not to engage in debate.
I am giving information, Mr. Speaker, as it is, because I have to translate the figures which we have been given by Waziri into actuals and what it means to the members of parliament and also the public outside. Mr. Speaker, we would like to ask the minister to be able, can he be able to sort out this bursary issue first before we even go for any development, so that the members are able to walk free in their constituencies and be able to do development for the Kenyans there. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwanza nimpongeze waziri kwa kuweza kuja katika bunge hili kutupa uwazi wa mambo ya maendeleo mashinani. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nataka nikuulize waziri, pesa ya ngafu 3 billion ni pesa kidogo sana. Sasa hata kwa udogo wake, uchache wake, sisi tulikuwa tumeambiwa na rais kuwa atakuja kutuongezea. Tunatamaushwa sana, kwa nini umepunguza milioni 500? Utupe sababu kwa nini umepunguza, zimeenda kwa nani, na kwa nini umeangalia ngafu peke yake wala si pesa zingine. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Yes, Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the Honorable Mbadi for the very good and elaborate response. And Mr. Speaker, we know as a country we are going through a serious economic turbulence. And Mr. Speaker, budgets are projections. And sometimes, based on what we collect is what we have as a country to spend. I just want to ask the Minister, the Honorable Mbadi, if you can make it probably tomorrow or early next week, you can release the next 7 billion, because before we go for a recess, so that as we go for a recess, we could disperse out the bursaries and we release the students to go back to school. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Mwango.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me a chance to weigh in on this issue. And for me, I want to seek clarity from the CS, Mr. Mbadi, on the exact date that we are going to put this money in our accounts, because for planning purposes, we need to get clear dates and we need your commitment. And then there was a question that was asked on further commitment on how these funds will always be dispersed to our constituencies. Thank you.
Mwango. Maklap.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to get clarification from the Minister. One, a constituency that has 3 wards, how much will it be when you break down the 7 billion, 4 wards, 5 wards, 6 and 7 wards? Because, Mr. Speaker, we need to know the exact breakdown of that money that will be able to justify. Two, Mr. Speaker, from the analysis of the Minister, Mr. Speaker, from the analysis of the Minister, he has said in January, February, there is a lot of loans. Why don't we exhaust all the money of CDF between the first quarter of the financial year so that we can't go to those months where there is issues of loans in the country, Mr. Speaker? So, Mr. Speaker, God willing, remain the Minister of Finance, but release all the money within the first quarter of the financial year so that children of Kenya cannot lynch members of Parliament for non-release of funds, especially for bursaries, Mr. Speaker. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I can also confirm, I sit in Committee of Debt, that the World Bank report, the IMF and the World Bank report scored Kenya out of 34 conditions, 22 conditions Kenyan government was able to succeed, translating to 64.5%. It means we are in good books. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the minister should be able to finance Ng-Cdf once and for all, and we are done.
Kisairo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As one member said, actually we listened to the Honorable CS, courtesy of him having been our colleague, and we accorded him that respect. Honorable Speaker, in February, the CS was categorical that he was going to send 2 tranches of 7 billion in the month of February, and from that month it was be 7 billion monthly up to the time he completes sending the amount for this financial year. Honorable Speaker, the CS has now said in February he sent 7 billion. Today, he has sent another 7 billion, which has not reached the board, so we cannot count it. And he's saying, after sending another 7 billion at the end of this month, that he will be in default or he'll be behind by 1 month. What happened, or which calculation is he using? Because if he could have sent twice in February, once in March, which he only did once, skipped the second one, skipped March, we are in April, how can he be 1 month behind at the end of this month? He will be 3 months behind. CS, what we want is 21 billion before the end of this month, if not today, and the rest to be cleared by the end of next month. Otherwise, this is just going to be in circles. This is another promise, and we are not going to achieve anything. It is the members of Parliament who are being hogwashed out there in the constituencies. Honorable Speaker, let the CS give us a clear roadmap. What he has given us is speculation. Thank you.
Mary Masse.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, I want to appreciate the CS for at least doing something today. But, Honorable CS, you have said that the passing of the bills has unlocked external financing or funding. So in another week or 2, you will have enough resources. I want to propose that you clear with the CDF. Honorable Speaker, our problem is not only bursaries. In my constituency and in many of these members' constituencies, we still have our students, the grade 9s, learning under trees. I do not have enough classrooms. So we need the money to be able to construct those classrooms and all the other development projects.
Thank you.
Let us have the money before the end of this financial year, for this financial year. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Sarah Mali.
Mr. Speaker, I do understand that collections of revenue in the country itself is a very tricky thing. And any Minister for Finance will always be on a serious balancing act. There are so many competing priorities that essentially everybody is asking for something, but the Minister is in a very difficult situation. Mr. Minister, can you give us an undertaking that you will have at least before the end of next week another 7 billion in our account? and progressively see how you can give us an undertaking on the rest also. And when you have a situation when there is no sufficient revenue collection, because this is the revenue collections in the country, we understand that we had a finance bill that was shut down. That was the biggest mistake this country made. And then the revenue generation itself is not an easy thing. So, Mr. Speaker, can you give us some kind of an undertaking that by next week, before the end of next week, we have at least another 7 billion in our accounts, and then how you're going to disburse the rest?
The member next to Emase, who is that? Kirima.
Yes.
Thank
you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My good question to the Cabinet Secretary is this. Is the Minister aware that other than Ng-Cdf, there is no other money which we get for development in our sub-counties or constituencies, and then development which can be seen on the ground is only through Ng-Cdf money, of which we are lucky that the Minister concerned is a former member and he has used Ng-Cdf in his constituency. The chief executive of this country was a member of this house and he has used Ng-Cdf before. Is the minister keen to release this money before the end of financial year so that we cannot have carried debts beyond this year? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Bensouda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You've kept your word by ensuring that CS National Treasury is with us today. Question number 1. We would like the CS to also give us a plan of releasing GAF the same way he has committed the plan of releasing Ng-Cdf, which is 7 billion per month. Taking into consideration that GAF is just 3.5 billion, which has been reduced, we want to request that this money, at the beginning of every financial year, it is released as a lump sum. Question number 2. The current